What is going on, all you Pokemon collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the Pika Pika Papa, and it is Sunday Fun Day, which means we are going to be looking at the list of cards that TCGPlayer has sent directly to us and have flagged as, hey, these are the ones that are gaining the most price on our website over the last 7 days. And we do this every Sunday, and I think it's an incredibly valuable video series that we do here on the channel. And it's because it's such a short-term snapshot, right? This is only 7 days, and we all know what drives long-term price appreciation here in the Pokemon market. It is nothing more than demand. And when you see a card spiking in price on a website the size of TCGPlayer, you know that that means demand is spiking too. So not only does this indicate a great price movement in the short run, but a lot of the times, not always, but a lot of the times, we see cards make multiple appearances on this video series. Sometimes this can be an early indication of long-term price appreciation because of everything I just said. Like when you think about what truly brings value to a Pokemon card, it's not necessarily tied to anything externally. It's all about what you and I and everybody else out there deems its value to be. So it's all about supply and demand. I think we have some really exciting cards on this video today. Now, before we get into it, I also got to say I'm approaching it with a little bit of trepidation. So if you saw my video on Friday, I talked about how the market has gotten extremely hot. I talked about some of the challenges that I think exist in Pokemon cards. Now, I also provided counterpoints because obviously I am a long-term Pokemon bull. I think Pokemon investing is absolutely awesome and it's going to do very well in the long term. But the reality is the market is really, really hot right now. And a lot of things are out of whack in terms of that supply and demand quotient. And so I'm going to show you a graph here in just a minute, which will kind of summarize what we've seen happen in the past. And then I'm going to talk through like some of the cautionary tales that I have for the present right now. But the most important thing is I hope you enjoy the video. I hope you have fun along the way. I hope you find value in the content. And if you do, hit that subscribe button or give us a thumbs up. Those two small things go a long way in helping my small channel out. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. So with that out of the way, for this particular video, I never do this in this video series, but I am going to start off with this chart. So if you're unfamiliar with my channel or what we do here, one of the main things we do is data and graphing of Pokemon prices over time. So way back in September of 2023, I took the 12 sets that have booster boxes from the Sword and Shield era and their top 20 singles cards, and I aggregated their value. And I've been doing that ever since. I've been doing it for 2 years now, and I graph how that price moves over time. And what it's done is it's given us this awesome view as we can see when the market gets hot, we can see when the market gets cold. We're starting to see different patterns emerge. We need a lot more data points to further validate this, but we do have 2 years worth of data now. And as you can see, the market gets really chunky. So if you look from September 2023 all the way to February of 2024, the top 20 singles cards in Sword and Shield was working its way down. Then you can see after that, from March of 2024 all the way to June of 2024, the single card market got hot and they started to spike. And then in July of 2024, they started to cool off, right? And you see this, it's really a pattern. Doesn't mean it'll repeat, but it is something worth noting of, is that things kind of cooled for 4 to 5 months, then they got hot for 4 to 5 months, then they cooled for 4 to 5 months. And most recently, what we've seen down there in the bottom, in that blue box that I have there, August, is we have seen that these Sword and Shield cards were going through a bit of a period where the prices were getting soft, right? From April all the way through July, we saw the top 20 singles cards, their prices coming down. We're all aware of that. But in August, we saw those prices starting to flatten out a little bit, okay? So to me, I said, hey, listen, I don't know if we're going to go through a price appreciation. I don't know if this is just going to be us finding a support line and things are going to start to settle down. But either way, I said this could be a really interesting buying opportunity because at least in the past, it's been an indication that things are going to start moving more favorably. Now, I haven't pulled this data yet for September. I do it on the 15th of every single month, so I'll be pulling it soon. But I have a feeling that this is going to turn positive again. But the thing I also want to call out is if you look at the 2 boxes that I have that are purple right there, that shows you the month after things started to stabilize, how aggressively the prices grew. And as you can see from February to March back in 2024, very smooth transition from negative 0.52% to positive 1.69. So that's a very smooth graph. But then you see from October to November, there's almost a 10% delta, right? In October, those top 20 singles cards were down 3.54%. And then in November, they were up 6.38%. So again, you change the delta between those two is about 10 percentage points. So very, very big shift there. And what I don't know is what's going to happen from August to September and then September to October. So when we look at some of these cards on the list today, today and we see how aggressively they're going up in price, that is what causes me to approach it with just a little bit of trepidation. So with that out of the way, let's look at some of these cards. That was a big setup for these awesome cards, but I thought it was important because the market is a little hot right now and I want all of us just to come at it with eyes wide open. So the very first card that's on the list right here is one that I don't care what is going on in the market. I think this card is very safe from everything that I talked about. I'm going to tell you the reasons why. First and foremost, it is obviously from 151. 151 is a set for the ages. 151 originally came out in late September of 2023, and guess what? We're in mid-September 2025, which means it is almost 2 years old. There is no written rule that at 2 years the product absolutely disappears, but we do know that once a product is 2 years old, traditionally finding it out in the wild gets very scarce. Pokemon does not do a lot with sets that are 2 years or older, so the thing is, once it hits 2 years, I start to feel more comfortable. I really think that the 2 years after that 2-year mark is where we start to see a set really just start to boom in terms of pricing. And obviously, since it's a set of the ages, this is a special illustration rare from one of the most popular Pokemon out there. You got Zapdos. The other thing that I love about this card is it's not just Zapdos. You got the legendary birds on there with it, so it's kind of a mashup card. And everything there is to love, I love about this card right here. And the price has been insane. Now, I will admit I was not 100% confident this card was going to reach $100 as soon as it has, but I have said multiple times over the course of the Pika Papa channel's life, like, I firmly believe there are going to be multiple cards from 151 that are going to be over the $100 mark. Obviously, you have the Charizard at the very top, you got the Blastoise, you got the Venusaur, right? This Zapdos right here, but outside of the Charizard, none of the other ones have been able to hit north of $100 and retain that price point. There have been flashes, but they've never been able to retain it. So I think that now that we're combining the age of the set, the awesomeness of the cards, you know, and the big name characters, I think that we're going to start to see some of them break through that $100 price point and hold on to it. So I feel really good about this card, excited to see it pop up in price, and I think this one is very worthy of being on the list. Now, next card right here. Sleepy T-Tar from Battle Styles. And if I had to go back in time and think about one of my, I don't know, not worst, because none of them are bad, but one of the predictions that I had very early on in this channel, which didn't really come to fruition, was, man, I was a big fan of Battle Styles. I thought Battle Styles was way overlooked. I love Tyranitar. I love the alternate artwork on this one right here. I love the fact that it had multiple cards over the $50 price point. And, you know, Battle Styles just never really broke out in terms of booster box pricing. But this card, as of late, has, and I did the 1-year graph instead of a shorter version because I just want all of us to take a look at how aggressive that price has spiked. Now, as you can see, the bright blue line represents price, and then the light blue bars, those represent sales volume. So as you can see, the price spike was coinciding with a big jump in sales volume, which can sometimes indicate a buyout on TCGPlayer, where somebody or so a group of somebodies go on, they buy all the cards out, and it causes a temporary price spike. But this has reached an all-time high, $273. It's not just a little all-time high, right? This is about $50 above the previous all-time high. And if you go back 1 year ago, I mean, you were buying this card in the $140, $135 range. So this card has grown substantially, with most of it coming in a short amount of time. Now, is this going to be setting a new standard? Is this got $300 written on it in the future? I don't know, but I know I'm going to be taking more time to understand it because, again, you look at the way these cards have traditionally come up after a turn down period, you don't normally see it this aggressive. So I think this card might come down a little bit, but I do think that it'll settle, you know, hopefully above that previous all-time high, because I do think this card is awesome. And as I said, I've always been a big time believer in Battle Styles. Now, the next card we're talking about right here is one I'm a huge fan of, and I've been a huge fan of this card forever. I'm talking about way back years ago. I always loved the artwork on this one from Fusion Strike. This is the Mew alt art. And again, the thing that's different between this one and the Tyranitar, because you might be looking at that price spike and feel like it's the exact same thing, but what I want you to see is that big light blue bar graph jump, the one that gets all the way up to 50, was previous to the all-time high that price is reaching right now. If you look at those light blue bar graphs to the right of the one that spikes all the way up and touches that 50 number, right? The other ones are still really high. So you have very strong sales volume going on after that quote-unquote possible buyout, and the price is continuing to rise. So for me, that tells me that the market is fully supportive of this card at not only its current price point, but it has been continuing to increase the bullishness of this card altogether. I love to see price going up. I love to see purchases going up. Like, that is just everything working in conjunction together. And I think it's a very healthy growth. Now, I wish it wasn't going up as aggressively, if I'm being completely transparent. I do think that up 326% over the last year is a little bit wild, but I do think that people are going to, I don't want to call it FOMO, but I think people are really trying to get their hands on a lot of these awesome Sword and Shield products, especially from the big sets, the Evolving Skies, the Fusion Strikes, the Lost Origins, right? Like you could go on and on about the awesome sets in Sword and Shield, but I think everybody has kind of seen what XY has done. Everybody has seen what Sun and Moon has done. And even though the print runs are very different for Sword and Shield, the hobby is growing. More people are coming in. So guess what? There's going to be a huge demand for Sword and Shield far into the future. So I think a lot of people are trying to jump in. But man, this all-time high, I mean, this is way, way higher than it was before. I mean, this was like a $70 card at one point. We were all sitting back going, oh my God, can you believe it's a $70 card? Now it's all the way up at $134. So again, love to see the support and the continued price growth after that big buyout, which we saw there a little while ago. So it lets me know that, hey, the market is at least continuing to support this price trend, but it's going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on. Hey, I'm hoping it keeps going up. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of this card. I have a ton of copies of this. I got a couple in PSA 10s. I've always been a big believer in this card in Fusion Strike, so really cool to see it all come together. Next card right here. So we talk a lot about promos. Promos are hot. Matter of fact, I have put together a list of some of my favorite promos that I am going to be doing a whole video on here relatively soon. They have a very different life cycle versus your regular cards, right? They don't seem to follow the exact same Pokemon pop and flop that we see with regular cards. Sometimes promos will fly under the radar for a very, very long time. And this is obviously the promo card from your Destined Rivals Elite Trainer boxes. And when we think about the stack ranking of the awesome sets from the Scarlet and Violet era, if you're just talking about regular sets that come with the booster box, right? Destined Rivals is probably going to be number one. I like Surging Sparks as well, but I think Destined Rivals is going to be number one. So those Elite Trainer boxes in time are going to go up significantly in price. There is no question about it. Guaranteed those are going to go up as the set continues to age and as those cards continue to be more and more desirable. Like, it's just going to happen. So you have the opportunity to buy this one right now at $8.87. Now, that is way up versus where it started. It started as a $3 card. It doesn't have the big name. It's not the Charmander like you see from Obsidian Flames. It's not the Pikachu like you saw from Paldea Evolve or the Snorlax from 151. Like, obviously, it's missing a little bit of the star power, but it's got Team Rocket on it, which is something. And again, I just think organically this card is going to benefit from the fact that the box that it comes from is going to continue to increase in value over time. However, as exciting as this one is, you know me, I am a big believer that I would much rather have fewer copies of higher quality, rarer cards than anything else. So I had to include the Pokemon Center exclusive stamped version right here, which is also performing very well. Again, over the last 3 months, this thing is up 84%. And it's hard to believe that not long ago, this was going for 65, 70 bucks. I am a big believer in this card long-term, specifically because of everything I just said. Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs for Destined Rivals, they're going to be nuts. Give it 3 years, and I guarantee those things are going to be going for a small fortune. So I think this card's organically going to go up with it too. And then the final one on the list this week is a card which, oh my gosh, this has been my favorite card. You can probably go back and watch videos from this Pika Pika Papa channel, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, and I was talking about how much I love this card. However, I am also racked with regret because as much as I loved it, I never picked it up. And this is a card that has been on this list and other video series multiple times over the last couple years. And when I spoke earlier about that organic growth that I like to see where it's supported by, you know, fairly regular, consistent sales volume. This is what I'm talking about right here. Like, look at that 1 year price graph. It is slow, it is steady, it is upward to the right. Yes, it's still up 181%, but you can see that throughout the course of the year, it's been supported by a decent number of sales all throughout time. So this card is awesome. It just goes to show you, you know, last time I talked about this card, I don't know, I think it was in like the $270 range. And I was like, oh, well, I missed the boat. But guess what? Now I've really missed the boat, because if I had pulled the trigger at $270, $280, $300, you would still have about $100 in growth here on this. So it just goes to show you that just because a card goes up in value doesn't mean that you should lock yourself out. If you're a big believer in it, if you find joy in it, if you think it's got great long-term potential, you know, don't hesitate to pull the trigger, because at least for now, we've seen that a lot of these cards can continue the strong growth path, even though the market might kind of undulate up and down over time. So that's it. Those are the cards that have been growing the most. As I said before, I'm approaching all of the market with a little bit of trepidation when I see these incredibly aggressive price spikes, but all I care about is you doing what makes you happy. If you enjoyed this video, if you had fun with the content, hit that subscribe button or give us a thumbs up. We'd love to have you around for more videos, but most of all, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I'll talk to you later, everybody. See ya. Bye.